Have you ever noticed how one negative thought can ruin your entire day? How a single moment of doubt can spiral into anxiety, stress, or even fear? The problem is not life itself. It's how your mind reacts to the thoughts that arise. Negative thoughts are natural, but they don't have to control your life. Today, we are going to solve that problem. In this video, you'll learn how to defeat negative thoughts and reclaim peace, focus, positivity, so that your mind becomes a tool for growth rather than a source of stress. The first and most crucial step in defeating negative thoughts is awareness. Imagine your mind as a garden where thoughts are seeds constantly being sown. Some are seeds of hope, courage, and creativity. Others are seeds of fear, doubt, and negativity. If you do not observe which seeds are growing, the weeds of negative thought can quickly take over and suffocate the flowers of positivity. Awareness is noticing these thoughts before they control your emotions and actions. Most people live life on autopilot. A thought appears, and immediately it triggers a chain reaction of feelings, judgments, and behaviors. Perhaps someone criticizes you, and instantly you feel worthless. Or a small mistake happens, and your mind begins a relentless loop of self-criticism. The problem is not the thought itself, it's your lack of awareness that allows it to dominate your mental space. Awareness is the first weapon in defeating negativity because it creates a gap between the thought and your reaction. Start by observing your thoughts without judgment. When a negative thought arises, pause and label it. This is a thought of doubt, or here is worry. Simply acknowledging it creates a separation. In that separation lies freedom. You are no longer a passive victim of your mind. You are a conscious observer with the power to respond differently. Mindfulness practices can help cultivate awareness. Even just a few minutes of observing your breath, journaling, or reflecting on your thoughts can make a significant difference. Over time, you begin to notice patterns. Maybe certain situations, people, or triggers consistently give rise to negativity. By seeing these patterns, you gain control. Awareness is not about suppressing negative thoughts. It is about recognizing them, understanding why they appear, and choosing not to let them dictate your emotions or actions. Consider a simple example. You wake up feeling anxious about the day ahead. Awareness is noticing the thought, I am worried about today's challenges. This pause allows you to take a deep breath, reset your focus, and approach the day with intention rather than panic. Slowly, this practice strengthens your mind, making positivity the default response instead of negativity. Awareness is the foundation. Without it, no strategy to defeat negative thoughts can last. It is like trying to build a house. On sand, the walls may look strong for a while, but they will collapse without a solid base. Awareness gives you that solid foundation, enabling you to confront, challenge, and ultimately defeat negative thoughts before they control your life. The second key to defeating negative thoughts is to challenge them. Many people believe that every thought that appears in their mind is true. But the truth is, not all thoughts are facts. Often, negative thoughts are exaggerations, assumptions, or fears dressed up as reality. If you accept every thought without question, your mind becomes a prison. But when you learn to challenge your thoughts, you reclaim control and weaken their power over you. Challenging your thoughts begins with asking simple questions. Is this thought really true? Do I have evidence to support this? Am I overgeneralizing or assuming the worst? By scrutinizing your thoughts, you realize how many of them are based on fear or past experiences rather than reality. A thought like I will fail is often just your mind projecting worry, not a prediction of the future. When you identify these distortions, you stop allowing them to dictate your emotions or actions. Another important aspect of challenging thoughts is perspective. Imagine a negative thought arises. I am not good enough for this opportunity. Instead of accepting it, you can pause and ask, have I succeeded at similar challenges before? Or what skills and experiences do I already possess that make me capable? This process of inquiry shifts your focus from fear to evidence, from assumption to reality. Suddenly, the negative thought loses its grip and your mind begins to see possibilities instead of obstacles. It is also useful to consider the source of your thoughts. Many negative thoughts are influenced by comparisons, social pressures, or past failures. By recognizing the origin, you can detach from them. Just because a thought appears does not mean it defines you. You are not your negative thoughts. They are simply mental events passing through your mind. Challenging them reminds you that you have the power to choose which thoughts you entertain and which you let go. Practical exercises can strengthen this skill. Whenever a negative thought arises, pause and write it down. Then, write counter evidence, alternative perspectives, or solutions. Over time, your mind automatically starts questioning negativity before it escalates. You learn to see thoughts as tools, not commands. Challenging thoughts also builds resilience. Life will continue to present difficulties, criticism, and uncertainty. By training your mind to question negativity, you prevent it from spiraling into fear, doubt, or despair. Each time you challenge a negative thought, you strengthen the habit of conscious thinking, creating a mental environment where optimism, clarity, and calmness flourish. Ultimately, defeating negative thoughts is not about avoiding them entirely. It's about learning to confront and question them so they no longer control your life. Once you master this skill, you are free to respond to challenges with rationality, courage, and positivity, rather than being swept away by fear, doubt, or pessimism. The third key to defeating negative thoughts is learning to reframe your mindset. Awareness and challenging thoughts give you the power to recognize and question negativity. But reframing is what transforms it into opportunity, growth, and positivity. Reframing does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending life is perfect. It means choosing to see every situation through a lens that empowers rather than disempowers you. Reframing begins with language. The words you use in your mind shape your emotions. When a thought arises like, "This situation is impossible," you can reframe it as, "This situation is difficult, but I can find a way through it." Notice the shift. The first thought leaves you feeling hopeless, while the second creates curiosity, resilience, and determination. Small changes in wording can profoundly influence the energy of your mind. Another aspect of reframing is perspective. Often, negative thoughts focus on what is lost, what is unfair, or what went wrong. Reframing asks you to look at the same situation and ask, what lesson is here? What opportunity can I take from this challenge? For example, failing at a project might trigger a negative thought, "I am not capable." But reframed, it becomes, "I now know what doesn't work, and I can approach it smarter next time." The event hasn't changed, but your perception has. And that perception determines your emotional and mental state. Reframing also involves gratitude. Even in difficult circumstances, there is something to appreciate: a lesson learned, a skill developed, or the courage to continue. Gratitude is a powerful tool for reframing because it shifts focus from what is lacking to what is present. When your mind focuses on abundance rather than scarcity, positivity naturally grows and negative thoughts lose their dominance. Practical techniques strengthen reframing. When a negative thought arises, pause and ask yourself, "How else can I see this? What is the lesson hidden here? How can I grow from this situation?" Over time, your mind begins to automatically look for possibilities rather than problems, solutions rather than complaints, and hope rather than despair. Reframing becomes a habit, a mental lens that colors your experiences with optimism and resilience. Reframing is not always easy. Negative thoughts are often deeply ingrained, reinforced by past experiences and social conditioning. But with consistent practice, it becomes natural. Each time you reframe a thought, you weaken negativity and strengthen your ability to respond constructively to life's challenges. Your mind slowly transforms from a reactive space where negativity rules into a proactive space where wisdom, positivity, and clarity dominate. Ultimately, reframing is about taking control of your internal narrative. You may not control external events, but you can control how you interpret them. By consistently reframing your mindset, you defeat the power of negative thoughts, create mental resilience, and open the door to a life filled with focus, optimism, and inner peace. The final step to defeating negative thoughts is to replace negativity with positive habits. Thoughts are not isolated. They are influenced by the environment, routines, and inputs your mind receives. If you consistently feed your mind with negative news, toxic conversation, or self-critical habits, negative thoughts will dominate. But by intentionally filling your mental space with positivity, you gradually weaken negativity and create a mindset of resilience, focus, and hope. Positive habits start with what you consume, the books you read, the videos you watch, the conversations you engage in. All of these shape your thoughts. Surround yourself with content that inspires, motivates, and uplifts. Replace gossip with meaningful discussion, social media, scrolling with self-development, and complaint-driven habits with gratitude practices. Over time, your mind begins to naturally lean toward positivity because it is absorbing healthy, empowering inputs. Daily routines also play a powerful role. Morning rituals, journaling, meditation, exercise, and mindful reflection are more than just tasks. They are ways to condition your brain for focus, calm, and optimism. When you begin the day with habits that reinforce positivity, your mind becomes less vulnerable to the negative thoughts that may arise. You start the day from a position of strength rather than reaction. Another essential aspect of positive habits is affirmations and self-talk. Replace thoughts like "I can't do this" or "I always fail" with empowering phrases. "I am capable," "I am learning and growing," or "I can overcome challenges." By consistently repeating these affirmations, your brain begins to accept them as truth, gradually rewiring your mental patterns. Negative thoughts lose their power because they are no longer reinforced by habit. Even small, simple actions can create a positive ripple effect. Acts of kindness, expressing gratitude, connecting with supportive people, or helping someone in need may seem minor, but they create feelings of fulfillment and positivity that counterbalance negative thoughts. These small habits create a feedback loop. The more positive energy you cultivate, the less room negativity has to grow. It's important to remember that replacing negativity with positive habits is a gradual process. You will have days when negative thoughts sneak in. You will face setbacks and challenges. But every time you return to your positive routines, you reinforce the structure of your mind. Consistency is more important than perfection. Habits compound over time, and a mind trained with positive inputs becomes resilient, clear, and empowered, naturally resisting negativity. Ultimately, defeating negative thoughts is not about battling every single worry or fear that arises. It's about creating an environment, both internal and external, where positive thoughts flourish and negativity cannot take root. By consistently practicing positive habits, you transform your mental landscape into fertile ground for focus, optimism, and peace. Your mind becomes your ally, not your adversary, allowing you to live life with clarity, joy, and purpose. As we come to the end, take a moment to reflect. Negative thoughts are natural. They will appear in every life at some point. But the power does not lie in the thoughts themselves. It lies in how you respond to them. By becoming aware of your thoughts, challenging their validity, reframing your mindset, replacing negativity with positive habits, you reclaim control over your mind and your life. Remember, defeating negativity is not a one-time act, it is a daily practice, a way of living. Each time you observe a negative thought without judgment, each time you question it, each time you reframe it, and each time you feed your mind with positivity, you are building resilience, clarity, and inner peace. Your mind is like a garden. What you nurture will grow. When you consciously choose awareness, empowerment, and positivity, your mental landscape transforms. Negative thoughts lose their power, and your mind becomes a source of strength, focus, and inspiration. Keep practicing, keep observing, and keep nurturing your mind, because the life you desire begins with the way you think.